All right, now on to our third and last segment, building resilience through self-efficacy. I won't necessarily do an introduction as I feel you all know me by now, but what I will do is express some gratitude and say thank you for your time today. You could be anywhere in the world and you're here with me. So I will be talking about building resilience through self-efficacy. For those of you who attended the CT meeting last month on building confidence, this segment is essentially part two of that discussion as our confidence levels, self-efficacy, and resilience are very much interconnected. I've been inspired to talk about these subjects because they're near and dear to my heart, as the last year has been one of the most challenging for me, both professionally and personally. Some of you are aware of what I'm referring to and some things I've been dealing with. Um, But I've been asked many times, how do you do it? Well, I'm about to share some knowledge and some tools that have helped me, but let's get started talking about self-efficacy and resilience. All right, over the next 30 minutes, we'll be talking about what is self-efficacy, what is resilience, the link between the two, why it matters in training, factors that influence self-efficacy, building resilience through self-efficacy in training settings, strengthening self-efficacy through experience, little exercise, some key takeaways, conclusions, and some references for you to refer back to. All right, well, what is self-efficacy? Well, according to Albert Bandura, self-efficacy theory, it's the belief in one's ability to control their performance in events that affect their lives. Essentially, in my summary, it is one's ability and trust in themselves to know what to do. And if they don't initially, to eventually develop the knowledge to know what to do. One's self-efficacy serves as building blocks for motivation, well-being, and resilience. And what is resilience? Resilience is the ability to bounce back after encountering challenges. And it's very normal for us to face challenges or face situations, events in our lives that may knock us out of our zone of resilience. And the zone of resilience refers to a window of stress arousal where key regions of the brain is functioning optimally. And to put it into my words specifically, it is our normal state where everything is firing the way it should be. We're thinking the way we should be. We're performing the way we should be or as intended, um, prior to any stressful event that may knock us out of that zone. All right. So just to note a little bit of context. So a trainer's confidence or lack thereof in facilitating a difficult instruction, right? We have some pretty technical teachings that we provide, and or a difficult audience or handling a difficult audience or team member can influence the overall success or failure of the session. Going into a situation where you are confident that you have practiced, that you know the knowledge and know how to handle any kind of situations that may occur are essentially what is needed for the development of our self-efficacy and resilience overall. So the trainer must be able to bounce back after a challenging class or a heckler to ensure engaging instruction takes place, right? So we can't anticipate that everything is going to go perfect every single time, but we prepare for situations that may occur so that when they do occur, that we're able to bounce back and meet the goal of the training session. So a quick self-reflection. Let's take a minute to think about the last time you've had to adapt to a difficult training situation. What did you do to manage that situation successfully? So I'll pause for a minute, allow you to think, and then I'll call out for those who may want to share an experience, or maybe we'll call on one of you in particular. Receive some feedback from those who have went through difficult training situations and how they resolved or managed a situation successfully. Wonderful. Thank you all. I really appreciate you sharing your insights and some of the things that you do. As much of what we're about to talk discusses utilizing our peers, our colleagues, in order to develop these tools. So there is definitely a link between self-efficacy and resilience. And you may have gleaned that interconnection between the two in just me covering the definitions of those two words. But a person with high self-efficacy are most likely to approach difficult tasks as challenges to be mastered, not necessarily as roadblocks to prevent them from achieving their goal. They also persist longer in the face of adversity. Most of us can deal with a little bit of adversity and for a short amount of time, but once that duration is elongated, then it becomes tricky on how we are navigating and managing those situations and also bouncing back. Someone with high self-efficacy and resilience also leverages effective problem-solving strategies. And what essentially that means is that they did the work. They have reviewed what could possibly happen, review what has happened in the past, some challenges, and have taken notes and steps to mitigate those challenges if they present themselves again. Low self-efficacy and its impact on resilience, it results in avoiding challenges, feeling overwhelmed, and diminishing resilience over time. And no one wants to feel like that, but you could see that it's an upward spiral as well as a downward spiral here. When individuals believe that their ability to handle challenges or self-efficacy, they're more willing to confront adversity and persist through those tough times. And that fosters resilience. Each time they overcome an obstacle, their sense of self-efficacy increases a notch, reinforcing their ability to be resilient in the future. Conversely, resilient behaviors such as learning from failures and adapting to new strategies strengthen self-efficacy by providing evidence that they can succeed despite difficulties. Why does this matter? Why are we even talking about this, right? So the impact of self-efficacy on trainers and really any role, but I'm just picking on trainers because we're all trainers here. High self-efficacy enhances job satisfaction, performance, and resilience. You feel better about the work that you're doing when you're able to meet the need and meet the need successfully. That you're not only able to meet the expectations of those who you work with, but also your own expectations on how you execute that process. Confident trainers model this resilience, and that creates a positive learning environment for the students. Last thing that any student wants to do is be in a session where the rest of the or other students are taken away from their learning experience, and the instructor, facilitator, educator, teacher, etc., are not able to get control of their class. It's a lose-lose, if you will, for everyone in that situation. So it also allows trainers to take larger projects and complex and teach more complex subject matters, right? The more confident we are, the more that we are engaging in this self-development, we're able to push the envelope, if you will, allowing us to take on other projects, other tasks that may be slightly out of our comfort zone, but within reach to allow for us to create these win-wins. And we'll talk more about that in just a few minutes. There's also an impact on the students, as I just mentioned. If we're not able to create a supportive, growth-focused environment that encourages the trainees or students to persevere in the training, then ultimately we're wasting their times. They'll leave the session without the information and context that we want them to have. It also builds better rapport with the students. So again, your ability to confidently relay the topic or content, you are creating an image of a SME or an authorial voice, and that breeds adoption to what it is that you're saying. Why would one want to listen to somebody if they're stumbling and fumbling over the words or just not familiar with the content? So there are some factors. I love a good formula. I love a good saying, if you will, right? So there are some factors that influence self-efficacy, according to Albert Bandura. And those four, and the uh, first two of those tools are: number one, enactive mastery. Enactive mastery, right? Is a fancy term, but essentially it is practicing, perfect practice, if you will. Successful training experiences build confidence in their abilities, meaning one successful training allows you to build the confidence to conduct the next. And that confidence, that self-efficacy continues to grow as you continue to practice and sharpen your saw, right? And an example of this, right, is something that we do currently. Allow me to connect some dots. So we practice the delivery of our lessons. This is done during the paneling or the credentialing process, but also moving forward, we all should be practicing these sessions and continuing to fine tune these sessions with each other, right? I recommend recording yourself and listening and viewing how you present, as well as your gestures, your flux in your voice, and your overall enthusiasm, right? Last thing we want is someone that's monotoned and is going to put us to sleep. We don't want to replicate something that isn't working, which is why I say perfect practice makes perfect. Vicarious modeling is another one. And most of us know what vicarious means, right? Like basically living through somebody else. And essentially, what we mean here, related to us, is observing other trainers succeed, right? And that can influence our self-efficacy because now we have an example. Now we have something to aspire to, a crystal clear picture of what it is we want to do, right? And besides that, there are many other ways that we could view and watch others do the same thing that we do and do it more effectively, right? By either classroom audits, watching each other conduct sessions, going to YouTube, watching TED Talks or those who conduct effective presentations and taking note of what they do and applying it to our practice. The next is verbal persuasion. And that sounds like a negotiation is taking place. And essentially it is. But the difference is this verbal persuasion oftentimes is a negotiation with ourselves, positive self-dialogue and affirmations of what we aspire to be. But we can also leverage the verbal encouragement of our colleagues, our supervisors, and others, and utilize that as fuel to building our self-efficacy. The last of the four is psychological arousal responses. And although many of you hear arousal and may think something sexual, but it's not that. So relax. It's more or less the stress management, that is essentially crucial for maintaining that self-efficacy. We're all going to experience a level of stress, and most of us are introverts. So we have to know our normal state, the stresses that it takes for us to conjure up the energy and the mentality and focus in order to conduct a class or a session, right? We have to have some tools that ground us either before, during, or and sometimes even after, right? And as well, it's important for us to know our biological indicators of stress. In the past, I used to get a shaky knee, or I'll get dry mouth, or something along those lines. So I learned to prepare for that. So I have something to drink. I do breathing exercises, and sometimes a quick grounding or meditation session before a session like this. So in order to build some skills in the training settings, and build more specifically the self-efficacy and resilient skills that are needed, because they are skills that can be developed. We encourage you to start with small wins. Set smaller, achievable goals to gradually build these tools, or these skills here, right? So sometimes looking at the big picture, or doing a comparison to one of our favorite presenters or teachers, we can fall short of that, and it can be discouraging. So we start off with small goals, right? Maybe having timed presentation in your practice, and meeting your presentation within that time frame. Maybe it's going without filler words in between or other words, so that way we can have more clear and concise instruction in conversation. Positive reinforcement and peer modeling. As I mentioned before as well, as we just mentioned, encourage team members to give constructive feedback. You find someone who I call a mirror, someone that can reflect back to us our true selves, and give us an honest assessment. We don't need fluff that we're doing great, you're doing great, if indeed we are not doing great. Emphasizing problem solving. Focus on those solutions rather than problems, right? You use these issues that may occur, these questions that are asked that we don't have the answers to, as an opportunity for us to grow and to also innovate. There may be something that we can learn in the future that we can apply to our current practices to make our instruction that much more effective. And again, managing stress. Integrate mindfulness, deep breathing, or breath work, as they call it, stress management techniques before, during, and then, as I mentioned, after the training sessions. But I would be remiss if I didn't mention the importance of hydration, sleep, and nutrition, and how they play a huge role in our overall performance. All right, a little exercise just to get our brains going, and I'm being mindful of the time. We have a little less than 12 minutes left. So uh, the objective of this exercise is for us to reflect on a personal experience that built self-efficacy and resilience in our lives. Think of a difficult training situation you faced. Write down the specific steps you took to overcome the situation. And in a small group, share your experience and discuss how this helped you build resilience and self-efficacy. We'll take about 5 minutes to do that, and then we'll reconvene with a debrief. 5 minutes has passed. Now pick on two people to share their stories. Fantastic. Thank you all for sharing what you all discussed in your breakout sessions. And if, I want you to walk away with some key takeaways. I said a lot of things in the session. So first of all, self-efficacy fuels resilience. And that is essentially the relationship between the two. Believing in your ability to succeed strengthens resilience during these challenges that you are going to face. Know that you have successfully overcome 100% of the days in the past to make it to today. Regardless of how it went, how you thought it went, you are here today, which is a testimony of your success. Mastering and modeling matter. Learning from past experiences, taking detailed notes on your past performances, having a tool to measure your own success, and then also observing others to help in their perfect practice in presentation of content will help you build that resilience, self-efficacy, and give you an exemplar to follow. And positive reinforcement helps. We're not talking about those affirmations where I am the best trainer, I am this, I am that. No, we are saying for you to look at the actual results of your past experiences and successes and use that to leverage and set the tone for your current and future experiences. Recapping again, self-efficacy and resilience are interconnected. Building confidence in your abilities will lead to stronger resilience. And with all the challenges that are occurring in this world today, it is more vital today that we are resilient so that we can bounce back when we get knocked down, because we will get knocked down. But as we get knocked down, we also get up. I encourage you to continue building your self-efficacy through reflection, peer support, and focusing on the small wins. Please check out the references on the next page or next slide to continue your own study into self-efficacy, resilience, and as well as confidence development, as they are key tools for being a successful trainer, as well as successful in almost any role. So I'll provide you with some resources for you to review. And to conclude, I want to end the way I started with gratitude and thanking you for your time today. And please mark your calendars for the next workshop, which will be on January 13th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. And this will be in person at the TOC. We love to hear from you as far as what you would like to hear from us. We do have some things in mind for this in-person session, but we still want to hear from you as far as what you would like for us to cover and review on your journey to professional development. Thank you.